news this morning coming in of the approval of a two-shot jab that could be used or added to South Africa's arsenal in the fight against HIV. This is a twice-a-year HIV injection that's now been approved by the country's medicines regulator. It's designed to protect HIV-negative people from contracting the virus through sexual transmission. Let's get the view now of Health Minister Dr. Motsoaledi. Good to have you on the program, Minister. So let's speak to how firstly, this shot will work and why it's such an important step forward, because when you look at SAPRA's CEO, they've described it in their approval note today as a game changer.
Yes, indeed. It is definitely a game changer. We are very much looking forward to it. The world is looking forward to it. This is an injection that is taken once every 6 months, meaning only twice a year. And during trials, it was found that in young girls, if they take this injection, 100% are protected from contracting HIV and AIDS. In other words, 100% effective. We don't usually have such type of drugs generally. And then if you do it to men having sex with men, it's 96% effective. So we regard it as a big game changer. It will change the war, the battle against HIV and AIDS in our country.
Lenacapavir is the name. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. It is described as an antiviral medicine recommended, and this is important, Minister, is it not, in a combination with safe sex practices. So it does not mean that what people have been using at the moment to engage in sex responsibly falls away. Am I right?
Yes, it is lenacapavir, you know. What you are saying, I'm laughing because it's a very difficult issue. You know, it's very difficult. It's like a policeman who will say, I'm now wearing a bulletproof. I can go all out and face anybody with a gun. I hope you understand what I mean. It is very safe and effective, but you can't just recklessly say, look, I'm only lenacapavir, I can do whatever you want. It doesn't work like that in medicine and health, you know, but it is definitely effective.
And it's, once again, just based on what you were telling us earlier, this is for people who are HIV negative. So similar to what many of us have come to know as PrEP. Is it part of that regime?
Yes, in the US, it is already there, by the way, Tembekile, in the US. But they are using it as treatment, and it's extremely, extremely expensive. It sells for $28,000 American dollars per person per year, which will translate to at least up to R500,000 per person. You are aware there's no African country that can achieve anything like that. So in our country, it has been registered by South African Health Product Regulatory Authority as prevention, as PrEP, yes, pre-exposure for prophylaxis. So to supplement you remember the PrEP that is there is oral, and the people have to take a tablet every day. And many of them don't necessarily like that, or they forget. This one, you inject once for 6 months, you forget. You don't have to go to a clinic, you don't do anything. You'll come again in another 6 months. So it is definitely PrEP, yes. Short of being a vaccine,
right?
But it exactly works like him, but it's not a vaccine.
You said it's very expensive where it's used as treatment. I think in the United States, you said, here we're going to use it as a form of prevention in South Africa. But how much are we going to pay?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's no way we'll afford it. So what happened is the Global Fund, I'm sure you are aware, the Global Fund, which has been there for the past 2 decades, specifically to raise money to fund the battle against HIV, AIDS, TB, and malaria. The Global Fund stepped in. They negotiated with the manufacturer, which is a pharmaceutical company called Gilead in the US, and they agreed to give to them at a reasonable price. And so the first stocks we are going to get from Gilead at an extremely reasonable price, but it's limited. Gilead allowed them only 2 million doses at that reasonable price. Now, 2 million for all the countries, obviously it's a droplet in the ocean, but because of our big big weight of HIV and AIDS in South Africa, we've been given 488 doses of those, which we'll use in the first year. The question is what will happen in the second year. Fortunately, during the recent UNGA in the US, during the United Nations General Assembly, a project was launched in which we were invited, launched by the Bill and Melinda Gates, by the Clinton Health Access Initiative, together with Unit 8, together with VETS RHI. They launched a project with what they call Dr. Reddy's Laboratory, whereby Gilead will give a voluntary license to Dr. Reddy's Laboratory to produce a generic. I'm emphasizing that, Mbekile, because generally, after you invent a drug, you have got 20 years monopoly.
Right.
That means the intellectual property rights allow you 20 years to be the only one producing that drug unless you give a voluntary license. So Gilead has given a voluntary license to 6 companies. One of them is Dr. Reddy's, whereby they are going to sell it, believe you or not, they are going to sell it for $40. $40 from $28,000. That's why it's
at that $40 then, is that when you think it will be, for want of a better word, comfortable financially for the South African government? I know that there's a fund now, a global fund, that's going to cover the costs of the initial rollout. But at $40, is it affordable for the South African government with all your competing interests, especially in health?
We've got no option. We've got no choice. Looking at the amount of money we spent on HIV and AIDS, if we have to find something that will stop it, so we have got to go in for it. In other words, we'll be saving money, we'll be saving the economy. If we say we save money by not giving Lenacapava, we'll waste more. I'm sure you are aware that I've announced that we're spending 46.8 billion rand to fight HIV and AIDS. And we can't keep on increasing the number of people who are HIV positive. So we have got no option. At $40 is a very good buy, I must tell you.
Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, Minister of Health, good to speak to you, sir. Thank you so much for speaking to us. So lenacapavir is this new vaccine or injection, if you will, that'll be taken over 2 doses for the prevention of HIV infection, or to help at least, but it does not mean that the traditional, if you will, methods of protection or participation at least in safe sex should be abandoned. It is expected to be in the country as soon as early next year.